Hi, I'm Rebecca Donnelly, Children's Librarian at Potsdam Public Library. I have Michelle Lord with me today. Michelle is the author of several wonderful books for young readers. Today we're going to talk about one of her 2020 books, The Mess That We Made. It's illustrated by Julia Blattman. And Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about this book?
Yes, this book is about the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and there are several gyres around the globe where plastic trash gets caught in these swirling currents and breaks down into microplastics, which then become dangerous for sea life and ultimately dangerous for humans because of the food chain. The fish that we eat have eaten the plastic, and so therefore we ingest plastic as well.
Right, and where is this plastic is kind of coming from everywhere, right? Like it's making it into the oceans from litter and from other sorts of things. What I love specifically about this book, which is so unique and distinguishes it from the other books that are really starting to come out about the plastic crisis, is that you've chosen a very cool cumulative type structure to illustrate the way that plastic builds up in the food chain. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I chose the cumulative style because I felt that the building verses mimicked the growing trash problem, especially the single-use plastics. So I felt that style mimicked what was happening. And so I made that decision too.
Yeah, and it's based on the old nursery rhyme, "This is the house that Jack built."
Correct.
Which I love, and I recognize that right away. So I know when I got this book at the library, I was just like, oh, this is really cool. I know you can't read the entire thing because there are copyright restrictions, but you can read a few pages for us?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you.
This is the mess that we made. These are the fish that swim in the mess that we made. This is a seal that eats the fish that swim in the mess that we made. This is the net that catches the seal that eats the fish that swim in the mess that we made. This is the boat of welded steel that dumps the net that catches the seal that eats the fish that swim in the mess that we made. This is the current that swirls through the bay, that rocks the boat of welded steel, that dumps the net, that catches the seal, that eats the fish, that swim in the mess that we made. This is the turtle, green and gray, that rides the current through the bay, that rocks the boat of welded steel, that dumps the net, that catches the seal, that eats the fish, that swim in the mess that we made. And didn't Julia Blattman do a fabulous job?
Those are luminous illustrations. And you know what, I was just thinking that if she were working on the illustrations for that book right now, she would have to be showing some surgical masks floating in the water.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and now, as a matter of fact, I've seen them on walks going around my neighborhood. So
I saw a picture yesterday of a sea lion swimming.
Oh, really?
Mask floating in the water.
Oh, wow.
The picture of the seal. Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to remember to clean up after ourselves.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite things when I'm talking with nonfiction writers is to hear a little bit about your research process. Is there anything that you would like to share with us about your research or anything particularly interesting that you learned?
Well, the thing that really surprised me or I found interesting was how long it takes for plastic to decompose. And for example, a paper towel takes 2 to 4 weeks, and a milk carton takes 5 years, not a plastic milk carton, the
paper carton.
Correct. And so plastic bottles take 450 plus years, and the same with plastic bags. And then styrofoam, some types of styrofoam never decompose.
Right. Oh, and this, of course, is all theoretical because plastic hasn't been around for 450 years.
Correct. Exactly.
Right, and we do know it just breaks down into
Smaller and smaller pieces.
biodegrades, but it doesn't, or it just breaks down into smaller pieces. Yeah,
Correct.
that's incredible.
And then I usually start my research by asking myself questions. For example, for this one, I asked myself, how big is this problem? How does it affect sea life? How does it affect us? And what can we do about it? And I usually start with websites that end in org, edu.gov, because these are up-to-date sources that have been fact-checked. And then, of course, libraries are a great place to do research. And in-person research, I took a trip with my daughter to see the sea turtle hatchlings released on the Texas coast. And we walked along and actually saw bits of styrofoam and plastic bottle caps. And so.
Right. Oh my goodness. And I know when we talked about this before, you were saying that you really wanted to end on a note of hope, which I think is really important when you're writing.
So the book isn't completely depressing. It spells out what's going on, but also it ends on a hopeful note about what we can do. There's back matter with calls to action about things kids and their families can do.
And what would you say are some of the sort of the top things that if somebody watching this wanted to really get into preventing their own waste from entering the waters, what do you think they could do?
Well, stop using bottled water, because those plastic water bottles don't degrade easily. So just use a refillable container for one. If you can stop using straws, that's another good one. An easy thing kids can do to help prevent plastic and trash from entering the ocean is to, even around your neighborhood or the park or school, pick up plastic and trash, and then when you get home, put it in the proper receptacle, because when it rains, then the plastics end up in the waterways and in the ocean, and then in the garbage patches, which then becomes part of the problem. So that's an easy, free thing you can do, is to clean up things you see in the neighborhood.
Oh, absolutely. And try and convince other people to do the same.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I want to point out that you do have some great back matter in your book. There's a lot of really good information there. So you've got this wonderful story, sort of poetic story, but then there's also several pages of more specific information in the back.
Yes, specific information, things you can do, a map, as I showed at the beginning. So I think it's hopefully an all-around interesting book for everyone. And I hope they're able to either check it out at the library or order their own copy.
I know we have it at our library, so when we return, we can check our books out again.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, Michelle, I want to thank you so much for spending a little time talking with me today. And I just love this book, and I really appreciate your time.